At an Indian festival a few years ago, I was filming with a group of Hindu holy men infamous for their extreme asceticism. I was amazed to find a lone European woman among them, Umagiri. She is the only woman who has ever been accepted into their monastic order. I was intrigued. What was she doing here? And could she help me find a way into their world of ritual and ecstasy? On a beautiful spring day, I arrived at Umagiri's hermitage in a remote Himalayan valley. It had taken nearly 2 years of phone calls and emails to be invited into this secretive world. Uma lives alone, dedicating her life to her god Shiva. She seemed to have shed her Western roots. In a way I envied her and wondered if I would be able to as well.
You kind of communicate with yourself and you get involved in your mind and all these emotions and feelings and try to understand and try to sort them out and try to get rid of them and try to transcend them and try to clear them out.
Although part of me is attracted to this lifestyle, the idea that Uma has surrendered totally to the will of God seems very alien.
You have to start yourself from the roots. From the very, very bottom. You know, I spent years in my guru's akara, and to have this yogis as an inspiration has been very helpful for me to do it my way. It's like cleaning your body, cleaning your mind, cleaning your soul, purifying.
There are millions of Hindu holy men called sadhus, and I've always been fascinated by them. They live a radically different lifestyle to the rest of us. They have willingly renounced all their possessions, family ties and worldly attachments for a life of religious fervour.
The way is to surrender yourself, to find out who am I, to find out that I'm not this person, individual person sitting here. Well, I'm sitting here, but I'm something deeper than this. So I came here and I immediately decided, yeah, I stay here. So I built this house. I really don't know how I did it. But I was meant to be here, you know. I never in my life thought of building a house. One has a kind of a dream of living by a river and a wood pile and a cow and all this, but it was a very, very far away fantasy. For the cows, they eat that and then I get the manure. Now it is a yatra time. Now it is the yatra time because the season is right. In the winter time, not even many yogis go out. They stay at home in front of their, at home, it sounds like they've got big places. They stay by their duni, by their fire and do their tapasyas. It's cold up here in the mountains. Then the spring times come and it's time to open up my house because my yogi brothers have to come here. They have to come here and it's my duty to accommodate them.
Amongst the endless stream of sadhus who pass through Uma's comfortable little retreat is Vasisht. Uma wanted me to meet him, hoping that he would help me trade reason and logic for faith and intuition.
How are you?
Very, very well. And you?
That's fine.
Fine. This yogi that I know, Vasisht, he came along and he's going on a yatra. I mean, he didn't come here to stay here. He came here because he was passing by. And then asked, maybe I would like to come along. So I go with him.
And life is a journey. Journey means yatra, same thing, na?
Is yatra important to Hindus?
Yatra important to Hindus.
Yeah, I mean, to go on a yatra like this is it's a symbol. It's like you go on your inner yatra. You go. This is like the outer yatra.
But are you trying to find who you are yourself? Or going on yatra?
Yeah, well, that's the purpose of a yatra.
Right, go ahead.
It's not the purpose of a yatra to be a tourist and to look around at old ancient monuments. A yatra is to look into yourself.
If this intriguing young man was going to be my guide, I wanted to know more about him.
Tell me about your guru, Vasisht.
My Guruji lives in Gangotri, near the Ganges. He's a nice person, but quite angry sometimes. Too much angry, he beats also. And no snaps. He never gives the snaps. No interviews, nothing. He throws the stone towards the camera. No snaps. So, many saints are there, no snaps. They are just away from the society now. So one saint asked another one that, tell me your experience, Babaji. And he said, how can I tell you my 20 years experience within 20 minutes? Huh? You should be with me for 20 years actually, and you will know about 20 years. So this is the main logic the saints give. And why should we disopen our secrets? Because after so much penance we got something. Everything should not be told to everybody now. Questions are good, but all the time questions are also not good now. And if there are so many questions, then one should have to enter his own soul to get the answer. Nobody can give all the answers to anybody.
That put me firmly in my place. I was obviously going to have to prove my worth before Vasisht would share any esoteric secrets.
Tell me about the gentleman who came yesterday called Vasisht.
He's a yogi. He lives up here in the Himalayas. And he also has his guru. We belong to the same order. We belong to the same akara.
But what does he mean to you?
In a sense, he's like my child, my son. And you know how mothers understand their sons. So I have that understanding with him. So no, I'm not, as I said, I'm not a yogi. I'm a woman. I'm a mother. But he's a son in my heart.
That afternoon, Vasisht took Uma and I off on our yatra. The intention was to make the traditional pilgrimage to the source of India's holiest rivers and visit hidden Himalayan mystics along the way. Our final destination was unclear, but I was hoping that 18 days on the road would make Uma and Vasisht less of an enigma to me. First stop was 20 miles down the valley. Uma was obviously well known in this town. While Vasisht went off to hire a jeep, Uma showed me round her local monastery.
This is the Dattatreya. This is the main temple of the Akara. Dattatreya is the Ishta Devata, the focus point of Junakara. And this is his temple.
It turned out that this was where she had started her spiritual journey.
And this is where I lived for 15 years in this little room here.
And what kind of things were you doing while you were here?
Well, you know, like anybody coming to Nakara like this, they have to start from the bottom. And then I got familiar to the place, and then I started decorating because I like to do that. So I made all nice dresses for all the gods and goddesses. Needed a little bit of female touch like that.
And what was it like being a woman in a total man's environment?
Yeah, that was quite difficult, but you see, also I never really come here to this realm to look for another man. I came here to look for myself, so it was okay. You know, I just had no interest. I mean, they're very fascinating, but I learned very quickly to keep away. I'm a woman, they are Babas, and I'm a Mai, so I keep distance.
But why did you decide to come here?
Oh, that is nothing that you can decide. You know, you can't think about that. I knew immediately. For some years, I mean, it started off by a personal tragic story, of course. Everything. That's when you wake up to. You have to do something when you go through a personal crisis. And I went also through a personal crisis. And then I came to India, and unconsciously I was looking for something.
Umagi was born Eva Björnstam. She was the daughter of an authoritarian policeman in a provincial Swedish town. She grew up to be a strong-minded teenager, and in the 1960s escaped to swinging London to become a model. A decade later, Umagi was a top model living in Ibiza, Athens and London. She married, had 2 children and the whole family set off on the hippie trail to India. After many months wandering around the Himalayas, Uma and her husband's relationship broke down. He left, taking the children. Desolate, lonely and ill, Uma sought sanctuary in a monastery. There she met her guru.
I knew that that was it. Oh, he's my guru forever and forever. And he is very, very present in my life. He made me, he changed my life.
Uma's guru died 5 years ago, and his shrine is still a very special place for her.
His name was Sri Ekasar Art Sri Mahend Krishna Chand Giri. Oh, Hey Guru. Yeah, we are going on a yatra. Your blessings. He became like my father. He was a very, very loving person.
You're trying to say that he could somehow
Oh, he knew me. He knew inside. That's why he let me come here to stay here, because he could see that he could help me. So the thing is to try to be present now and do what has to be done now. एक दूसरा वाला एक बागा हमारा आया बाथरूम साफ करो सामान Off we go.
Okay. The life is a journey, no? Journey started now. Michael Baba?
Where will it end? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, pardon?
You're the wise man. Where will it end, our journey?
It never ends. Life never ends, huh?
It was good to hear him call me Michael Baba. I got the feeling that our pilgrimage together was going to be rewarding. This being India, we gathered a few extra passengers. But at last we were on our way to Gangotri, the source of the river Ganges. Well, at least that's what I thought, though Vasisht had other ideas.
टोली का रास्ता यही है वो महात्मा रहता है नहीं एक वहाँ आगे बंगाली बाबा गाँव का रास्ता चले ना tough mountains polite people right way मैं खूब समझता हूँ ठीक है then we go walking yeah? वो जीप आ रही है उसका पास बना हुआ है उसका पास
अभी हीरो में ऐसा आवाज मार देता
अच्छा
बात होता है कोई क्या इतनी जल्दी प्रेम से बात होती है
We are really out in the off the road now, aren't we? This is really Himalayas.
So what's up now? Why are we waiting?
We are waiting because we are not allowed in with the car because we are here, we foreigners.
Vasisht and Uma had decided we should make a detour to meet a great sadhu called Bengali Baba. Unfortunately, that meant entering a military restricted zone below the Tibetan border.
आप बता सकते हैं
ना आप लोग तो जा सकते हैं आप लोग जाइए बेशक उसमें अपना महादेव और वाहन का हो गया चक्कर
ऐसा मत पर
आगे अफसर तो कोई तब बड़ी परेशानी हो जाएगी अंगारी महादेव कुछ
हम लोग को आगे डाल देना अफसर के धन्यवाद
गाड़ी में आगे वो पायलट साहब
He was saying now keep your camera inside and no shooting.
We began the 3-hour walk to Bengali Baba's retreat 3,000 feet below. We were far from the tourist track, following a hidden network that weaves through the Himalayas, binding these reclusive saints into a community.
Now we are doing a yatra. One of the ways of getting into the spiritual world is to associate with saints. I look at that and understand them through look. Now we are doing a yatra. One of the ways of getting into the spiritual world is to associate with saints. I look at that and understand them through looking at them and observing them. It becomes self-revealing. You absorb it and you become part of it, and you realize that you are not really just this individual little person, that you're just part of this creation.
पहुंच गया मंदिर
With the true timelessness of the East and the serendipitous way of the sadhu, we arrived at Bengali Baba's to find that nobody was in. So we sat and waited.
Well, we are somewhere in a valley in the middle of the Himalayas. And we came here to meet this Bengali Baba who lives in this place. But the Bengali Baba, as I understand, is going to meet us.
Oh, Duna? This is Duna? No, it's something. Somebody lives here.
So this young man here, he's going to go tomorrow and collect the Baba so that he comes, so that we will spend another day here, which I think is very, very nice. I think it's somehow like a little blessing that we spend another day here.
Holymen travel light, carrying just a change of clothes, a shawl, a water pot and tongs for the fire. They live off the charity of others, and within minutes Vasisht had procured food from the villagers. The absence of our host didn't trouble anyone. Next day, Bengali Baba still hadn't turned up. But the locals knew there were visitors in his hermitage.
तो एक बात है माता जी, जो है ना, जैसे आप ज्ञान मार्ग में भी है ना, तो हम ये जानना चाहते हैं कि ईश्वर आखिर इतने प्राणियों को पैदा करके क्यों दुख देता है?
कौन?
ईश्वर।
ईश्वर।
जैसे हम लोग को इतना पैदा कर देना, और दुनिया बढ़ गई, अब उसके बाद सब दुखी है, सब रो रहा है, कई सारा गोली चल रहा है, कोई मर रहा है, कोई कुछ, तो जब वो चिल्लाता होगा क्या ईश्वर नहीं सुनता है?
ये तो आपका कर्म है, ये आपका ये सदुनी का कर्म है।
ये आखिर ये सब हो क्या रहा है? What is happening?
What is happening?
कि ये देखो कहाँ लड़ाई हो रहा है, और जैसे ईरान और ये इराक है, अमेरिका है, ये सब जो है ना आपस में।
लेकिन आपका अभी डार्क टाइम, अभी धीरे धीरे इसलिए आया लाइट टाइम, ऐसा चलता ऊपर नीचे,
अप डाउन,
अप डाउन। लाइफ इज लाइक दैट, टाइम लाइफ टाइम।
हम तो सबको कहते हैं कि माता जी कि हमें तुमने कहाँ भेज दिया यहाँ, कि हम तो कभी कभी सोचते हैं ना, अकेले में जब हम थिंकिंग करते हैं ना, हम सोचते हैं कि हम कहाँ आ गया।
In their minds, you know, there's Babas and yogis and ascetics that are wandering around. They talk to the villages, they get to know them very well, and they ask about everything, about their cows and about their family and about how everybody is doing. Oh, they're endless inspiration for the village people. They give that consolation, they give that upliftment. They talk about God. They give hope, they give faith. It's like, you know, in the West to see a pop star is a blessing for the people there. Here it is to see a yogi, it's a blessing. So they can bring down the happiness to the people, give blessings.
I mean, what makes you and the Baba so different from everyone else?
It's your search for your inner, for your true spirit, that awareness that everything is just one, and to get to that awareness, no, you sacrifice everything into the fire, everything else that of your unawareness into the fire.
This Dhuni, this fire, what is it? Is it the force of purification and cleansing? Or is it just a nice warm thing to sit around?
Nice question. The Dhuni, the fire. Fire is there always, no? But when you cover with this and make it holy wala hisab and dhuna, then it's called dhuni. When the saint or the ascetic Baba sit there and do his sadhana, that fire is called dhuni. Not all the fires all over burning in the gas lamp or any funeral. That's not dhuni, no? Dhuni when the Baba is there around the fire and worships that fire. That's called dhuni. And yes, surely fire itself is the knowledge, because it's the light. The main rule of the dhuna is that it should never go off. There should be fire inside it. That's the real dhuna, and that's the dhuna we worship.
Fire is a symbol of many things. It's a symbol of the lower mind, for example. You learn to control the fire, they say, but the fire is just as difficult to control as the mind is. So you learn to control. This is a Baba, he sits there, he knows exactly how his fire works. So you keep away from it. And he learns how to control the fire, in the sense that he also learns to control the mind in order to go into spirit, which is the unmanifested.
There is a lot of secrets inside this asceticism, no? Which are not to be told, and it should not to be told to anybody. Because then everybody will come here and just spoil your bhajan and sadhana. Yes, be with the society, help the society, saints are there for that purpose only in the world. But don't reveal your secrets to everybody, because the knowledge is not for the fools, no?
Could I ever walk amongst the saints, or was I doomed to wander amongst the fools?
O darshana devo Shri Gurudeva Datta Digambaram. O darshana devo Shri Gurudeva Datta Digambaram.
Well, now we have to pack up, because we've been here for 2 days, and this Baba, he went away. So we just wait for everybody to be ready, and then we head off. But it is different for these yogis here up in Himalayas. They don't plan anything. They live according to a different kind of perception, different law than the law of society. These yogis here, they live according to the law of God, the law of the energies. So they just wander around.
We never discovered if Bengali Baba was worth the detour, and so we headed off on the hard trek back up to the road. As we headed higher and higher into the mountains towards the source of the river Ganges, unexpectedly Vasisht stopped the car. We all had to get out and found ourselves beside a decrepit shack made of blackened old tar barrels.
दुकान नहीं, ये तो अपना घर है.
कुटिया सीताराम की.
ये हमारा घर है.
What do you know about this gentleman here?
Nothing. I don't know anything about him. First time I'm here, first time I meet him. We will find out. We are going to stay here.
Vasisht clearly knew this man, but he was being evasive and didn't give me any clues, even though there was something very odd about him.
He is a nice man, courageous man, and nothing for himself, no? For everybody who comes. He is not speaking with the tongue, and he is reciting his mantras from inside every time.
So we settled in for the night.
I decorated and put flowers here and there, and I think
I was beginning to understand. Sita Baba was a silent saint. He'd taken a vow never to speak a word again.
You can just think by looking at itself, that understand, no? The viewers also can think what's the meaning of Akash Vritti. Just to purify your soul, no? This is the way. One gets nearer to God. 12 years gone, he's not speaking. And this is a type of Hatha Yoga, and it's very difficult to do. Mostly people are unable to keep their lips shut, no? You have to speak. Someone has
it's very difficult, you know, to be in silence.
Would you ever consider doing a tapasya like that?
Which I don't think it's something that you can consider doing. It's something that you feel like, you know, if it comes to you, you will do it. If you have that willpower to do it, you will do it. Let's see, you know, one step at a time.
But seeing somebody like this, does it inspire you, and in what way?
Yes, you know, it's like you talk out with your voice, but also to keep the voice silent and also keep the mind silent. You know, that goes together. You don't speak, also your mind gets silent. If you think of just being quiet and think of the sounds you start hearing, you know, the sensitivity that you develop.
Nice way of living, huh? Be in the world, be away from the world.
To be silent is the final tapasya, because it's in the silence that you finally find the truth. There you find God.
After the meal, I thought we'd be on the road again, but Vasisht led us down a steep path behind the hut.
Every time you come. It's happening, we are planning to stay tonight here only, because we can have darshan of Gangaji in the morning coming, and then we can go with it to the temple.
So what, you want me to come have a look at where we're going to stay?
Yeah, you can have a look on this cave, and it will be... Every time you come. It's happening, we are planning to stay tonight here only, because we can have darshan of Gangaji in the morning coming, and then we can go with it to the temple.
So what, you want me to come have a look at where we're going to stay?
Yeah, you can have a look on this cave, and it will be... This is the natural refuge of the religion. We can have everything here. One can lie down, we can make the fire here, or in the corner, as you wish.
Do you think it'll be comfortable?
For me, it's very comfortable.
And will it be for me?
It will be comfortable.
Okay, then I'm on for the night.
Alright, come inside and have a look. Slowly, slowly. Are you
Yes.
ready to stay here?
Yeah, fine. We'll make it Duvni.
Are you comfortable here then?
I'm comfortable.
Then why not to stay here
Why not
tonight?
stay here for the night?
Why to spend the money in the hotel?
Yeah.
Have the art of pleasure, huh?
Oh, this is great. We make a big Duvni.
Yeah, you can make a dhuni here.
This cave was obviously one of Vasisht's old haunts, but whenever I asked him about the past, he always skirted around the subject.
This is the yogic path. First try to die, then you will live. When you will experience the death, there is a life. The real meaning of death is life. We live the life with a simplicity. The try to make everything simple, not complicated. This is the renouncing. You have everything, but you renounced. It seems crazy, no? But the world starts only when you are crazy after something. As you are crazy after sports, you are crazy after business. Everybody is crazy after something. Why not you should be crazy after God? He is Almighty, He made you. Give Him little time, maybe 10 minutes a day. That will be a big thing. The soul is there to worship the deity. Because the relation between the deity and the soul is much, much stronger than the relation between this body and the soul. Then again the Mother Nature said, no problem, I will come in my lap. She is never going to refuse if you want refuge in her lap.
Nature is so extraordinary. You can really, it's so alive. It's so both for listening and for seeing, for smelling and for feeling and for it's so alive. I surrendered. I have no particular aspiration more than to find my own goal. Be one with nature, to understand the law of nature, to just be. There you find God.
निर्मल भासित शोभित लिंगम.
Be with the nature, for the nature, by the nature. Because the nature is the mother. She created us for herself to play with us.
We were back on the road to Gangotri, but the weather turned nasty, and we stopped to warm up in a tea shop. At last, after 8 days together, Vasisht began to open up.
First I left my home, na? Then I got that Guruji, my first Guruji, na? Who showed me the path, not to just roam about like Mawali, na? We say in Hindi, like a foolish fellow, na? Have some aim and some goal, then do something.
You just wanted to get away from something?
Yeah, get away from this fussy world, yeah. Because everyone is trying to achieve something or the other from each another, na. People loving, na. No love without gaining, na.
It slowly emerged that Vasisht Giri had run away from his middle-class family when he was 16. His parents were very orthodox and his father was domineering, while his mother smothered him in love. A troubled teenager, Vasisht took off to the Himalayas and lived with sadhus in the cave we just left.
So how long did you live up in Gangotri?
I live here 4 years.
4 years.
The nature planned it for me, na, that you have to take the studies up to this standard and then to leave the home. But slowly, after 14, 15 years now, living in the Himalayas, my mind has changed a lot. Now it's relaxed totally, na. Nothing to gain, nothing to lose. Everything is yours, na.
Is there more love in your soul?
Yeah, the soul is always lovely and it loves everybody. It's the mind who plays the game in the reality, in this world. But the mind is there, who is always provoking you to do some destructions or some creations. Soul is always simply, she is living in liberty, you know. Some more chai?
Yeah, it's
Another cup?
Yeah.
एक cup और देना चाहे?
Vasisht got excellent grades from his Christian private school, and his father gave him a present of £15. But Vasisht took off and met his guru. He was initiated and took his vows, and now, like all sadhus, he's never been home or made contact with his family again. The ice had been broken and we were all on a high as we approached Gangotri. Vasisht wanted to be there in time to welcome his goddess back to her summer residence near the source of the Ganges. Each spring, after the snow melts, the pilgrimage season officially opens, and the goddess arrives to the skirl of the Garhwal regimental bagpipe band that guards the border with China and Tibet.
We have to stay here until she goes up and settles there, then offering the coconut, then moving. Got the prasad, no? You had the darshan, everything is fine.
Vasisht seemed blissfully happy to have been in the presence of his goddess, and we all set off to see where the Ganges flows out of a glacier.
See how he's crying, man. Nobody can cry like this without the deep devotion from inside.
It took me a while to realize that this agonized wailing rising from the rushing torrent was the sound of an unfulfilled love, a devotee crying from some inner trauma for his mother, the goddess, the river Ganges.
See, the devotion now. You have to cry like this, sitting beside the Ganges, then you can experience the reality, the truth. Sitting on the cushion, you will understand nothing.
We were all hypnotized by this haunting sound. It reminded us of the turmoil hidden in so many of us.
Gangotri. This is where Ganga comes down from the heaven. She came when the world was in need of nourishment and water, both water and spiritual nourishment. It's like here, she's consciousness, wisdom. She came from the heavens down to the earth to spread the heavenly wisdom, the Vedanta. And this is where she started. So to be here at the source, of where the message of the heavens came down to earth is very auspicious.
After 9 days on the road, we were in need of a few home comforts as we headed down the valley towards Vasisht's own little hermitage. Vasisht seemed to be really happy to be back home again and to see his puppy. Even though sadhus are not meant to have any attachments, he was certainly very fond of his little waif and stray, and of the wobbly lean-to shack in front of his cave.
My dear.
For me it was an extraordinary moment to be invited into Vasisht's retreat. At last he was opening up his private world to me.
I'm here for a few days. All of a sudden something happened to my mind. I thought it will be a nice place to make the hut. Because Barkot and every place nowadays too much noisy and too much people will be gathering around you just to sit alone now.
After 12 years living as a wandering holy man, Vasisht's guru instructed him to find a retreat in the mountains, removed from the distractions of mankind, to concentrate on his meditation. But Vasisht, never one to hide himself away, found a perfect spot by the road where it crosses the high point between the two great holy rivers of India, the Yamuna and the Ganges. This was Uma's first visit to Vasisht's hermitage, and she too was feeling its magic.
In the West, it's like somehow the more one thinks, the more esteem one gets.
This was Uma's first visit to Vasisht's hermitage, and she too was feeling its magic.
In the West, it's like somehow the more one thinks, the more esteem one gets. While here it is what one thinks that is more important. So you can't think truth. You can only feel truth, you can see truth, you can be aware of truth. Belief doesn't really come from thinking. So that part of the mind that tries to think truth, that part one has to get rid of.
I could see how Vasisht had been a guide for Uma in the uncharted world of the sadhu. His unquestioning pleasure at whatever life throws in his path shows her how to find peace and love in the world.
Well, love is the basic for life. Love is not only basic in Hinduism. Love is life. Devotion is an expression of love. When you talk about love, is unconditional. God is love.
This is the life, Baba. You should live in the jungles with the demons, with the devils, with the ghosts. Then you are Baba. Living with the spirits, you have to feel them. Because nobody is going to harm you, Yeah, that's why you should not be afraid of anything. Lots of scorpions there. Daily 1 or 2 on your wall, on your backside, on your making food wala jagah, many places, It is here, I will show you, my dear. Let me first position, otherwise he will come up on me only. But many score points in this cave. That's why I love it. Yeah. You see this?
Where?
Film it? You should have some fearless quality.
In my sleeping bag that night I wondered, was Vasisht just teasing, or was he testing me? Next morning, Vasisht returned to the orthodox regime of the sadhu. I began to understand the importance of discipline and dogma on the path to enlightenment. All sadhus of Vasisht's monastic order cover their bodies in ash from their sacred fire, a penance to remind them to abandon the ordinary world of illusions.
So, Vasisht, what is the meaning of the ash that you put on yourself every morning?
And everybody has to turn into ashes one day. So why not beforehand you try to be just like ash, which makes you feelingless. The feelings are slowly being removed away from the body now. That's why the saints, the yogi uses the ash to remove all the worldly filthy things from the mind and just to remember that you are the just follower of Shiva.
Nakedness to a sadhu is quite natural and part of his vows of renunciation, but complete nudity and all the attention that it attracts in public is not the right way to behave in India at all.
There's nobody here. You can live naked. I live naked, man. Nobody is here. No woman comes here. I roam naked all day in the snow. Naga life, na? In Barkot I can't roam naked because it's a city. People will say, Baba, you are so much educated, you speak English, and your behavior is like a jungly man.
So, when he's in public, Vasisht wears a loincloth. He amusingly pointed out that he ties it with the same knot that a Western businessman uses for his necktie. An orthodox sadhu should practice yoga every day. Without a fit and well-performing body, any attempt at improving the mind or the soul is a waste of time.
What do these exercises achieve?
This increases the abilities of your brain. Sometimes, if you know how to do it, know how to control your breath, otherwise it can disbalance your mind also. Many things. This exercise gives many things.
I mean, you're talking about it preserves the balance of the mind.
Yeah.
Is there a danger in unbalancing your mind in some of the exercises that you do?
This is called Buddha Padasana. Understand Buddha Padasana?
No.
This is Buddha Padasana. Keeps your back straight, new energy in your body. You don't do any asana, do only Buddha Padasana. This is all giving all siddhis. But you have to do regularly, not only one day, once a week. Guru Varam Varunadaram Sandar Saram Mujgandaram Sadaram Smam Pataki Nasti Papakretam Samanahi Yogyatva Mahadevi Tha Yogyam Dha Guru.
Then Vasisht began an exercise that seemed utterly crazy. It looked as if he was going to crush his sexuality, deny his manhood, even torture the root of masculine desire and passion.
Just to control your sense organs sometime, no? It gives some type of strength and increases your power a little bit.
But I thought the whole point of taking up sannyas was to deny your sexuality.
You don't deny your sexuality, rather than you use it. No? You don't try to use it. You keep it, you preserve it. It's not the thing that you deny everything. You accept everything, but you try to keep it. Because this energy is not for the waste. No? If you waste the energy, then from again, where will you get this energy? This is nothing you can get from the medicines. It will have to come from inside. No?
For me, asceticism always appears to be an abject denial of the pleasures of the world, part of the Christian tradition of guilt and self-flagellation. But not for Vasisht. It's a positive way of developing his spiritual power, the ultimate goal of every Hindu holy man. Vasisht found a prime location for his hermitage right beside the national highway. It overlooks the temple at the high point between the Ganges and the Yamuna valleys, and everyone stops here to consecrate their journey. This gives them a basic income in exchange for the blessings that his little band of holy men give to passing pilgrims.
गंगा मैया है ना, जो गंगा नदी जो हमारी है, वो हमारी माता है, गंगा नदी, वो मदर समझते हैं उसको, वहाँ से उसका उत्पन्न हुआ है, we treat it as mother. तो उसका जो है शुरू उधर से होता है, शुरू गंगा गंगोत्री से, पहाड़ में से गंगा शुरू होती है और फिर आगे जाके बड़ी नदी बनती है.